Boa noite, todo mundo, galera aqui da comunidade Cambly. Hoje temos mais uma super live com um dos nossos tutores nativos para a gente falar sobre os 5 principais erros que alunos brasileiros costumam fazer enquanto aprendem inglês. E para isso a gente vai estar com o tutor Anthony, que ele é nativo da Inglaterra, porém ele tem um fator especial, que ele também fala português. A gente sabe que muitos de vocês ficam inseguros quando é para começar a falar com um nativo, mas no Cambly a gente tem sempre o tutor ideal para as suas necessidades, para a sua metodologia de ensino, e também temos professores que falam português. Não é maravilhoso isso, gente? E temos mais uma notícia ótima, porque no Cambly tudo assim, tudo vem em combo. Se você que está aqui acompanhando, quer aprender inglês, quer levar a sério o seu ensino, quer tirar suas metas de ensino de inglês do papel esse ano, a gente, como sempre, dá um desconto especial para você que está aqui nas nossas lives. Então, 50% off, comprando hoje um dos nossos planos. Até, gente, meia-noite, 11h59, você consegue aproveitar 50% de desconto nos nossos planos anuais com esse código aqui que está na tela, Live 2022. E você ainda ganha, se você nunca entrou no Cambly, se você nunca experimentou, você ainda ganha 10 minutos para aproveitar uma aulinha e ver e comprovar como o Cambly é uma ótima plataforma para você aprender inglês da melhor maneira possível, online, quando e onde quiser, pelo celular, pelo tablet, pelo computador, com tutores nativos disponíveis todo dia, todos os momentos. E vamos começar a nossa live. Se vocês tiverem alguma dúvida ao longo, algum comentário, manda aqui, que essa live é para vocês. Então, Tutor Anthony, welcome.
Thank you. Good to be here.
Nice to have you here as well. Thank you for being here with us and going over the top 5 mistakes Brazilian students make when learning English.
Yeah.
So, Anthony, you yourself, you also went through the path of learning another language, in this case, Portuguese, right?
I did.
Why did you learn Portuguese?
So I first started learning Portuguese because I met my girlfriend who is Brazilian.
Oh, cool.
So I have a memory of the first time that I came to Brazil, and she was introducing me to her family, and none of them could speak English.
Oh.
So I was in this room, everyone was talking Portuguese to me, and it was just like I was hearing sounds. So I said to myself, right, if I want to build any kind of relationship with my girlfriend's family, I have to learn Portuguese. So that's really where the journey began.
Nice. And how long have you been learning and practicing Portuguese now?
So it's been about 4.5, 5 years. And it's mostly been whilst I've been in Brazil. So I've spent a lot of time here in the last 4, 5 years. And so I've been having conversations with people from Brazil. You know, at first it was very simple conversations like, hello, how are you? And then it progressed as time went on. I really found that having conversation was the best way for me to really improve my Portuguese. And that's why I believe that Cambly is a really good way to improve your English, because you get to have conversations in real life situations like I did.
Perfect. Yeah, that's what have you ever had some Portuguese classes or something like with more specific school, like traditional schools?
No. So all of my Portuguese has been so my girlfriend is an English teacher as well.
Cool.
So that definitely helps.
Okay.
But all of my learning has been by having conversations, me researching things online, but I haven't had any formal classes. It's just been mostly conversation based.
That's amazing to know. So you're very familiar with the process of learning another language and how you do that through a contact with the native. So that's amazing to have this on your side as well. So,
yeah, exactly.
Tá vendo, galera? É dos dois lados, tá todo mundo aprendendo. And I bet you also made a lot of mistakes during your Portuguese journey, right?
So many mistakes, and I still do. But that's part of the journey, right? You need to get things wrong, and a lot of the time, if you make a mistake, people still understand you, right? So it's not really a big deal.
And as we say, you have to make mistakes to learn. Otherwise, you won't learn. You won't get out of the same place, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So let's go over the list, shall we?
Let's.
Então, bora começar, galera. Aqueçam seus motores. Hello, Amanda. Hello, Elcio. Larissa. Eliana, boa noite. Ebert, entrei agora, galera. Tá aqui no início. Gente, muita gente aqui entrando. Que maneiro. Olha, aproveitem aqui, a gente vai começar a nossa lista agora, então fiquem ligados, mas aproveitem aqui enquanto isso, que também na nossa live a gente prepara sempre essa surpresinha especial de ter um desconto especialmente para você de 50% nos nossos planos anuais. Então, use aqui o código que vai aparecer aqui na tela para você aproveitar. Enquanto isso, Tutor Anthony, please, let's begin with our top 5 mistakes that Brazilian students make. The first one will be about something about when telling about ourselves, our age, introducing ourselves. Usually we say that. So what is the most common mistake about this?
Yeah, exactly. So introducing yourself is something, one of the most frequent conversations you have when you're, not just when you're learning a language, but when you're talking to anybody. So one most common mistake that I come across is when people are talking about age. So in Portuguese, you use the verb to have. So you would say, eu tenho 8 anos, right? So a lot of people, when they're trying to speak English, they say the same thing, they do a literal translation. So they would say, my son has, or my daughter has 8 years. So although we would understand what you're saying, that's not quite right. Because in English, we use the verb to be. So we would say, my son is 8 years old. So whereas in Portuguese you say has, so my son has 8 years old, we would say he is 8 years old.
So the verb to be, he is, I am 29. You
Exactly.
are?
I am 28.
28
years old.
Years old. Perfect. And the second one, I think it's a lot of people here, if you are one of them, galera, se você é deles, want to learn English because they want to travel abroad. So what is a very common mistakes in this situation?
So a lot of people, instead of saying, so if let's say you arrive to the airport, you're about to fly to America, let's say, and you woke up late. So you've arrived at the airport late, and unfortunately you missed your flight. Okay, so we would say I missed my flight. But in Portuguese, I hear a lot of people, Brazilian people, I hear a lot of people saying I lost my flight. Right. So in Portuguese, you would use the verb perder, I think, right?
Sim.
As to lose.
Perdi meu voo.
Eu perdi meu voo. Whereas in English, we have 2 separate words that can be translated into eu perdi or perder. So one of them is lost and the other is missed. So in this situation, we would use missed. So it's something that it's final, right? You missed your flight and that's it. You've missed your flight and there's no chance of you being able to get it again. Whereas if you say I lost something, so I lost my phone, for example, you have the chance of finding it again, right? So for you to say I lost my flight or I lost my bus or I lost my train would be incorrect. You have to say I missed.
Because you cannot find the train or the bus again, right?
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
And I miss an opportunity.
Yeah, so you would say I missed an opportunity. You wouldn't say I lost.
Because it's something that is not tangible.
Yeah, exactly. And also you can say I lost myself. So I was in a difficult time in my life and I lost myself.
But you can find yourself.
Exactly. Yeah, you can find yourself again.
Okay, great. That's a great one for us to understand that sometimes we have 2 words to translate one word, but with different meanings, right? Então, pessoal, fala aqui se vocês entenderam. Eu vi que teve amazing e tal, mas então perder, o verbo perder em português pode ser tanto traduzido para lost or miss. e você tem que ver dentro do contexto qual usar. Perfeito, obrigada, Tutor Anthony. And the third top mistake that we have is about time as well.
Yes, so this is a mistake that I hear quite often. And again, if you were to say it to me, I would understand. But grammatically, if you want to learn the correct way of saying it. So for example, I like to play volleyball, right? I play volleyball. Normally, I play volleyball all the time. But I haven't played for 2 years. Okay, I've had a break, so I haven't played for 2 years. So this would be the correct way of saying it. But I hear a lot of Brazilian people saying there is a lot of time that I haven't played. Right?
Tem muito tempo que eu não jogo. De novo tem.
Yeah, so in Portuguese, you put the time scale at the beginning and then the action afterwards, as a rule. And so in English, it's the other way around, as a rule. Of course, there's exceptions.
Okay.
But so you would say, like you said, tem muito tempo que eu não jogo vôlei. Whereas we would say, I haven't played volleyball for a long time. So we put the action word first and the time behind. But like I said, there are some exceptions. So
Tutor Anthony, I don't know if my phone. Okay, I will try to get my.
Oh.
Okay, yeah, it's cool now. I think it was my earphones. I'm sorry. Foi mal, galera. Okay, please continue.
Okay, so you can hear me. Sorry. Yes. So I was saying that as a rule, this happens, right? We put the action first and then the timing afterwards. But there are an exception. So you could say it has been a long time since I played volleyball. So that also would be correct.
Okay. So, and these kind of things, you have to have a lot of practice to get used to it.
I can't hear you, unfortunately.
You cannot hear me?
No, I can't hear you.
Okay. Let's see if...
Maybe, this has happened to me. Maybe we can end our call and start it again.
No, Flora, can you... Is everybody not hearing me? It seems that it's okay now. Okay, great, guys. Thank you. Can you still hear me, Anthony? Can you hear me?
No, I still can't hear.
Okay.
Maybe shall I leave the call and join back? Maybe that'll work.
Yeah, maybe let's try this. Pessoal, fica aqui com a gente para a gente terminar a nossa lista. E se você quer aproveitar aqui com a gente, aproveita esse mini intervalo que eu vou me reconectar com o tutor para vocês aproveitarem o desconto que a gente preparou para você que está aqui assistindo a live, usando esse código aqui na tela, Live 2022, para ganhar 50% de desconto. Mas só vale até hoje, 11h59. Então agora é o momento de você aproveitar e correr. Eu não sei o que aconteceu aqui com os meus fones, eu não sei se foi um problema do meu computador. Peço desculpas, mas a gente volta aqui em um segundo. Já, vamos ver se volta. Enquanto isso, gente, manda suas perguntas. Lembra daquele errinho que você costuma fazer frequentemente, que você está sempre pegando novamente, para ver se você pega aqui uma dica com o tutor Anthony. Ele está aqui, ele sabe português também, de repente ele vai conseguir fazer essa conotação. Oi, Anthony, can you hear me now?
I can hear you again now.
Okay,
Sorry
great.
about that, guys.
No, it's okay. I think it was because of the headphones.
Yeah.
I don't know. So thank you for being back. And let's go now for number four. Number four,
yeah.
Perfect.
So,
double negatives, right?
Yeah, double negatives. So this is one that can be quite humorous because it's not something in Portuguese that you don't have. So a double negative is when you say two negatives in one sentence. So, and then the outcome in English is a positive, whereas the outcome in Portuguese is still a negative. Mm-hmm. So, for example, in Portuguese, eu não quero fazer nada. So that means I don't want to do anything. But if you were to say that, the literal translation in Portuguese, which is what into English, which is what I hear sometimes, it would be, I don't want to do nothing.
Okay.
So if you say I don't want to do nothing, so you're saying I don't want to, and so the next thing is what you don't want to do. So if you don't want to do nothing, it means that you want to do something. So it has the opposite meaning of what you're actually trying to say.
And so there's nothing and anything, it stands for like.
Yeah, so anything can be, it's hard to explain, like literally anything. So anything that you want to do. I'm not helping by saying anything, right? It's difficult to explain.
It's or nada. It's or nada.
Pardon?
It's something. But
yeah, it's something. Alguma coisa. So it's something. So it can be riding a bike or watching TV or going outside. So it's all of these things. It can be any possibility, anything that something you can think of. So it's a wide range of options. So if you're saying I don't want to do anything, it means I don't want to go outside. I don't want to watch TV.
Any of the options.
Exactly.
Perfect.
Thank you for your help.
No, it's okay. Yeah, I'm here to represent if people are also understanding. Então, pessoal, se vocês estão aqui curtindo e entendendo, manda aqui o seu alô, o seu ok. Tutor Anthony, vamos para nossa última, né? Que é sobre academic English.
Yes. So this one we have two examples for, right? So the first example I'll give is one that I hear quite often, and it's when you're talking about doing something for your university course. So a lot of people from Brazil who are speaking English, they would say, I have a work to do for my university. But that wouldn't be correct in English. The correct way to say it would be to say, I have a project to do, or I have a piece of work, or I have an assignment. But to say, I have a work to do, we use the word work just for like a job. So you use the word trabalho, right, for job, but it has a wider meaning, I think, whereas in English we have a couple different words that you can use. But for this example, we can say I have a project. So a project is quite a wide range of things, but you could be more specific. So you could say I have an assignment to do, or I have a paper, a piece of paper. So I need to write a paperwork, or I need to present a presentation, right, on PowerPoint or something like that.
Perfect. So you have this project if you want to be more not specific about it, and you have other words that you can use, but you don't want to use work, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And what is the other one, our extra tip about this academic English?
So the other one is that in Portuguese, you say when you've graduated from university, you say eu formei, right? But if you were to say that in English, the literal translation would be I'm graduated in history. But that wouldn't make sense. We only use the word graduated when we're talking about I graduated 3 years ago, for example. That would be okay to say. But if you wanted to say that eu formei, you would say I have a degree in, and then you would say your course. So I have a degree in history, or I have a degree in social sciences, and I graduated 3 years ago.
Okay, and that's the opposite of age. When age, we Brazilians use have, you use the verb to be, and for graduation, when we use have the verb to be, like eu sou graduado, you use have.
Have, exactly.
So that's what we learn when having daily practice with natives and putting the language into use, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's when you're having conversations, you can pick up grammar as well as vocabulary, right?
I learned a lot. Well, I learned everything by conversation, but I learned a lot about the tenses and what verbs to use by hearing people using the correct way, right? And then, oh, okay, that's how you use it. You don't use, I've been saying it this way, but actually you say it this way.
Anthony, we have a great question here from Alain. Alain, thank you for your question. He's asking, como dizer sem problemas ou não tem problema sem ser no problem, para não parecer mecânico?
So, yeah, you would say não tem problema, right? So we could say, honestly, you could use no problem, or you could say no worries.
No worries.
No worries, yeah.
No
problem is one.
Anthony, maybe can you write it down on the chat so people can see how it spells and copy? No worries is an option.
No worries, right. So I've been put on the spot here. Let me think about some other ways of saying it. So you said other than no problem, no worries. You can say it's okay. It's okay. Don't worry about it.
Don't worry about it. Yeah. There is an English, like more British way to say it. That's not a problem.
Yeah, that's not a problem. It works as well. That's not a problem. Yeah, I think I usually say no worries. No worries. It's okay.
No worries. The more common, natural, less mechanic way to say it. Then.
Yeah. It's not a problem was another one we said, right? I'm trying to think if there's anything else. I guess it depends on the situation.
Don't mind me.
Off the top of my head.
Don't mind me.
I don't mind.
I don't mind.
Yes, that's a good one. I don't mind. Thank you. Who's the native speaking person here? Is it you or is it me?
It's nice. We have a question here from Samara Nicolau. Thank you, Samara. I think it's a tricky one because I think it's very broad, but let's try to go over a little bit, Anthony. When use the verb do or make, is there any rule to know when to use each?
So off the top of my head, I would normally use do when I'm using like an action verb. So when you're talking about doing an action, so let's say in the past tense would be did, right? So gosh, my mind's gone completely blank now, right? This is the
let's try maybe I give you some words and okay. Samara, give us some words as well so you can help us out here, and then you say it's do or make, so maybe we can find some. So I do or make yoga every morning.
Oh, okay. So I do yoga. And so that's an action, right? Doing yoga would be an action.
Work.
So I do my work. Yeah, I do my work. We could for food we would say I make. So
that was my next one.
Your next one. Okay. So,
I did a cake yesterday. I made a cake.
I made a cake yesterday.
I made a cake yesterday.
I'm going to make my breakfast, or I'm going to make my bed. You say as well.
So activities are more. It's more make.
Make, yeah, and like doing verbs, more like action verbs, more to do. So I like you said, I do my work. I did my presentation.
Okay.
Yeah.
This work, Samara. We have a video on our Instagram about that, Samara. So if you want to take a look, if you follow us already, it's Cambly Brazil. You're gonna find a lot of nice materials there. Fica uma dica para todo mundo. Anthony, thank you so much for all this help. Guys, I hope you enjoy our top 5 mistakes and were very useful for you. And Anthony, thank you once again. If people want to find you on Cambly, is Teacher Anthony, just how it's written right here.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah, Teacher Anthony.
Perfect. So, thank you so much.
Thank you very much for having me. It's been great.
Yeah, yes, us too. Us too?
Yeah, thank you too. Thank you too. It's been great for us.
Thank you, Anthony. So have a good evening and see you next time.
Thank you too. Bye, everyone. Thanks for having me.
Gente, é isso aí. Espero que vocês tenham gostado aqui da nossa live. Não se esqueçam que todo mundo que fica aqui na live com a gente sempre ganha uma surpresinha especial. E hoje a gente preparou esse 50% off para você usar para se inscrever em qualquer plano anual e colocar essas dicas aqui em prática e melhorar o seu inglês e aprimorar a sua fala, a sua escuta, tudo com tutores nativos, online, a qualquer hora do dia, em qualquer lugar, porque você pode usar o Cambly tanto no tablet, quanto no smartphone, quanto no computador, quantas vezes você quiser, em qualquer plataforma que você quiser, usando a nossa plataforma e assinando os nossos planos. Então, não perde essa oportunidade, só dura até hoje, 11h59. Então, pega aqui o código, manda para o amigo que você sabe que quer aprender inglês, manda para sua tia que sempre sonhou em estudar inglês, manda para todo mundo e fala para eles aproveitarem agorinha e verem aqui o nosso canal do YouTube Brasil, do Cambly, assinar, e lá no nosso Instagram tem muito conteúdo maneiro para vocês. Então é isso, espero vocês até a próxima live, espero que vocês tenham gostado, mandem aqui seus comentários. Boa noite, see you all!